Jabalpur MP, President Jabalpur District Nursing Teaching Association of India, who had completed BSc Nursing in year 2000 from Government College of Nursing, Indore, MP. Then he had completed MSc Nursing in Child Health Nursing on 2006 from Bharati Vidyapit College of Nursing, Pune, Maharashtra. She had also done her PhD in nursing from IIS University, Jaipur on 2016. She has total experience of more than 18 years in nursing field. Madam Lodhi, on behalf of all the gathered here, I welcome you this literally morning of webinar research session on topic understanding sample and sampling technique. So here is Dr. Malti Lodhi for all of you. Now I give mic to the Madam Malti Lodhi. Now you will be start the session. So ma'am, now you will start the session. Ma'am, did you heard? Now I give mic to Malti Lodhi. Ma'am, now you will be start the session.
Very well introduced me. Now I'm going to start my session. Before that, I would like to thank you, Dr. Farooq Khan. You have given a very great or nice platform for me to present my thoughts and my topic in front of all. And very good morning to all participants. And thank you so much, Poona madam. I
My
really
pleasure
thankful to
always,
all.
ma'am.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now, without taking much more time, I would like to start my topic. So, okay, I would like to give thanks to the Manish also, Mr. Manish, who helped me a lot every time. And हो गया? Share.
Malti ma'am, please you say loudly.
Madam, my slides are not opening. That is why I'm mute sitting over here. Uh, just try to open the slide. Actually, I don't know why the slides are not able to see. Just अभी तो दिख रही थी उसने किया था तो पूनम मैडम हेलो
Yes, ma'am.
मैडम एक्चुअली ना आई एम
So
नॉट
we
एबल
have
टू
some.
शेयर माय
Okay,
स्लाइड
okay. So we will
आई डोंट
share,
नो
ma'am. Just wait for 2 minutes. Okay, ma'am.
ओके आई एम आल्सो ट्राइंग
Okay.
where what area or what people what kinds of people you're going to take in your research study, that is called the population, just total population, total uh, we can say the total samples. Now next one is the target population. Target population is what? Target population is a good group of individuals who meets the criteria. The people out of the population uh, we take target population, or we extract the target population which include the individual who meet the criteria of your research study. Then accessible population. The accessible population is a group of people who meet a well-defined set of eligibility criteria. In that means what kinds of people you want to take in your study, that will call the accessible population, or we can say who fulfill the all criteria whatever you have keep in your research study. Now we'll see the sample. What is the sample? Sample is a subset of population that is selected for a study, also called the subject or respondent of the study. Yeah, this is the main uh, feature of research study sample. It is a subset of the population, or we can say the individual unit of your research study. Now we'll see the sampling. Sampling, what is the sampling? Sampling is a process choosing a representative portions of the entire uh, of, of the entire population. So sampling is a procedure which help to select the sample. Now elements. Elements is what? Most basic units about which information is collected, that is called the elements, from which you can collect whatever information you need for your research study. Then representativeness. Who will call the representativeness? Means who will be the representative of your research study, means that the sample must be like the population in as many way as possible. The accessible population must be representative of the target population. So we have discussed in above slide what is the target population. So we took the after that accessible population will take, then out of the accessible population will find out the representative. Now next
So,
one is
Malti ma'am, sorry for interruption. Your voice is not audible as per the
oh my,
attendees is saying me.
oh okay ma'am, I am trying. एक मिनट. Procedure of selecting of the subject. So that is the sampling plan. Now, sampling theory. What is the sampling theory? Sampling theory is developed to determine mathematically the most effective way to acquire a sample that would accurately reflect the population under the study. So it is a mathematically uh, calculated or determine the things uh, of the sampling of the sample, that is the sampling theory. Now we'll see the sample size. What is the sample size and how to select the sample size, and what's the importance of the sample selection, and what's the most thing which important selecting sample size. Why we need the sample size. So prior to the selection of sampling technique, the nurse researcher must first determine the size of the sample. It is very important and very we can say very important thing of your research study. You have to decide the proper sample size before starting your research. A sample size can be determined using the Sloven's formula that has given in 1960, which is the following. N is total population, small n is the target population. So Nn is equal to 1 plus Ne2, where N is the sample size, N is the population size, E is the margin of error, and 1 is a constant value. Constant value is 1. You can see in this example from the population of 10,000 clients with the tuberculosis. A nurse researcher selected a sample size with a margin of error of 5%. So margin of error will be the 5%. The desired sample size is computed to be 385. So out of the 10,000 population, your sample size will be the 385. So you will be generate very well your research findings to the population. So these size of the sample, these sample size will be accurate to generate your research findings. That is what I mean. Now we'll see the characteristic of good sample. The first one is the representative. So what is the representative and how they means representative is the sample, and this representative should be able to generalize the findings of the population. So whatever sample you are taking from or drawn from the population, that sample will be able to generalize the findings which has been find out after your research to the population. So representativeness is very essential. Then free from the bias and error. The free from simple random sampling error or bias. The sample which have you chosen, which have you drawn from the population, that should be free from the error as well as from bias. No substitution and incomplete. The sample should not replace any aspect of the researcher interest. See, in between, sometime it happen. I have seen in so many research studies, the people, especially MSc nursing students or BSc nursing students, they used to do what according to their interest. They used to change their this sample size sometime, but it can happen if any major major problem came during the research study. It can do, but it should avoid always, and do not take any or do not change any types of any kinds of sample, or any do not replace the sample from one to another. Then appropriate sample size. Sample size should be appropriate. Quantitative studies need not a larger sample size, but the qualitative studies sample size not considered important. Yeah, the quantitative research study need vigorous analysis. That is why they need what means large sample size. But in the qualitative studies, there is no need to uh, take large sample size, because we need to do the qualitative assess the quality of that particular things. Now we'll start. So these all are the characteristic of the sample which we have to always keep on our mind while you are starting your research study. Now we'll see the sampling. What is the sampling? Now, definition of the sampling. Sampling is a statistical procedure that is concerned with the selection of the individual observation. It helps us to make a statistical inference about the population. So, what sampling is a procedure or process which help us to draw or choose the sample for the study from the total population, and it also helps for the statistical inferences. Now we'll see the sampling, how we can draw the sampling, see the sampling, how we can take the sample from the population. So uh, this is the population. You can see in the diagram populations. So many people are standing over there, and out of that we have to choose the very few people we have to select as a sample. So for that we have to do the sampling, and sampling is a process that or technique. There are so many types of the sampling which we will discuss later on. So after the process of sampling, we will took or choose the sample whatever you need according to your sample size. Now we'll see the purpose of the sampling. The economical. Provide an economical options for the researchers to generate the empirical evidence. Yeah, definitely the sampling gives us economical means make us economical, very means very easily we can do the study in very few sample or very few people. So economically it helps us. Then it improves the quality of data. Definitely when we work with 100 peoples, we cannot communicate with each and everyone, but when we work with the 10 people, definitely we will be able to communicate very well with the people. So it gives us the it improves the quality of data when we select a few candidates or few sample or few unit for the research study. Then quick study result. Definitely we cannot analyze 100 people easily, but we can analyze, we can do the study, we can mathematically, we can very well means very easily we can take out the result from the 10 people. So it helps us to give quick result. Then precision and accuracy of data. To generate precise and accurate data in the research study, definitely it gives the accurate data, because we find out very vigorously or rigorously we assess the sample, and after that we analyze the information whatever we have drawn from the sample. Next, we'll see the sampling process. Now we'll start the sampling process. What is the sampling process? Refer to the essential characteristic of a subject or respondent, such as ability to read and write, responses on the data collection instrument. See, so according to characteristic of the subject and respondent, an ability or read and write, whatever you want. It's depend on the researcher's need, researcher interest, and main thing is what your study. According to your study, you have to choose your the sample, and according to that your sampling procedure will be. But you have to always follow all the steps for selecting the sample. For that, first step is what? Identify and define the target population. Definitely out the whatever population you have, out of that the same characteristic which will be sample are able to fulfill the characteristic whatever you need, that will be the target population. So you have to identify the target population from the total population. Then describe the accessible population. Then out of that, you have to describe the population, accessible population. That means, what is that mean? That is set up population which fulfill the criteria, full criteria of your research study, and ensuring the sampling frame. So what you have to ensure from the sampling frame, whatever sampling frame you have prepared. I discussed in the first slide what is the uh, sampling frame. So whole population, from the whole population you have to select the sample in that. Then specifying the sampling unit. Now you have to specify the sampling unit, what units you want and where you want to do the sampling. Then specify the sample selection method. Now it is very important thing, you have to select proper method. Here, if researcher is not able to select the proper method for the sample selection, then it will be give result and later on, means when you are going to finish your study, that will be give more impact on analysis and your result of the study. So you have to select proper method of selecting a sample. Then determining the sample size. Yeah, this is very essential point to do the study, research study. In that, proper sample size is very, very essential. If you want to do proper study, then you have to take or draw or choose the sample whatever needed for proper information. So according to that, you have to choose your sample size, and you can statistically you can measure by the power analysis, and so many rules are there, so that you can apply, and it's always depend on the experience of the researcher. Then specifying sampling plan. Now every researcher should specify the sampling plan before starting the research. So sampling plan, in that what you have to explain, from where you will take the population, total population or full population, what we said, then how you will decide the target population, from that how will we assess the accessible population, and out of that how you are going to assess, or which method you are going to use to draw the sample. Then selecting a desired sample. Then you have to last is what? Select the desired sample, how much sample you want, what characteristics of the people you want to indulge in a research study, that you have to select in the last. Now we'll see the factor influencing sampling process. I'm audible to everyone? Madam, Manju madam?
Yes, yes, now audible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Very easy. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So factor influencing sampling process is that, what is that? There are three types of factors which give effect on the research or sampling process. First one is the nature of researcher. In the nature,
Ma'am, excuse me. One more of our attendees is giving me the question that please you explain sampling frame and sampling unit once again. So please again you repeated this
okay,
topic.
ma'am. sampling unit and sampling frame. So, ma'am,
Yes,
after
ma'am.
completion of my topic, I will explain.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
Okay, ma'am. Keep in your mind when that question will let them clarify last. Okay.
Okay.
Then factor influencing sampling process, nature of researcher, inexperienced investigator. If the investigator do not have proper experience uh, for the research or for the particular topic, then definitely it will be affected your research study and sampling technique also. Then lack of interest, sometime it happen unnecessary, they used to or forcefully they intended to do the research. On that time also that researcher or sampling will be affected. Then lack of honesty, yeah, sometime it happen randomized sampling karna hai but they don't want to do or they are least interested to do the research, so that is why they used to took the convenient sampling, so that also give effect on the sampling technique as well as your research. Then intensive workload, sometime it happen the people, if people have workload, much more workload, definitely their research will be affected. Then inadequate supervision, yeah, if our MSc nursing students we are not able to supervise, then definitely they will not do the proper research. It has happened so many times. Now, nature of the sample, inappropriate sampling technique, nature of the sample, second points which give effect on the sampling process. What is that? That is nature of the sample. Nature of the sample is inappropriate sampling technique. If you are not chosen sampling technique proper, which is essential to draw the sample in proper manner, then definitely it will help, means it will affect your sample, your research study. Then sample size. Sample size is what? Sample size, you know that if we have proper sample size, then your research will be very nice. If sample size is smaller and population is bigger or large population, from the large population you take little this sample or very few sample, then definitely sampling error will be there. So your study will be affected. Then defective sampling frame. If you have not taken all people or you have not involved all population which you want to study, you are intended to study, or you are intended to generate your what this result in the particular population. If you have not informed their means what we can say, you have not uh, what I want to say actually, total, if we have total population but you have not include all population in your sampling frame, then definitely your research study will be affected, and that can call the bias study, or we can say the that sampling error will be there. Now third one is what the circumstances. Sometime it happen, researchers don't want to ignore the research. Researcher don't want, researcher is very honestly want to do the work, but he will be not able to do because of the lack of time. Time is very, we also always give the 1 month time for the MSc students for the data collection. So such types of foundation can be there, and that definitely directly give effect on our research study. Then large geographical areas and large populations we cannot assess one time, and that we definitely give effect on affected to your research result. Then lack of cooperation. Sometime it happen, if people are not cooperating properly, your research study will be affected. Then natural calamities. Sometime it also happen that calamities, because of that the research study cannot researcher able to do properly. Now we'll start the sampling techniques. What are the sampling techniques which we have to discuss? Exactly, there are a lot of sampling techniques which are grouped into two categories as probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Now let's see the probability sampling now. What is the probability sampling? And now we'll see the difference between the probability and non-probability sampling. So the difference lies between the two as whether the sample selections is based on the randomization or not. With randomization, every element get equal chance to be picked up and to be part of the part of sample for study. You can see the probability sampling versus non-probability sampling in this diagram. You can assess what is happening here. See, there are scattered sample they have taken, or researchers can choose the scattered this each and every people or sample is can be picked as a sample from the total population or accessible population. But in the non-probability sampling, what they set in their mind from where they have to collect the sample and to whom they will choose as a sample in their study. Now we'll see the probability sampling. What is the probability sampling? This sampling technique use randomization. Definitely, this sampling always have randomization to make sure that every element of the population get an equal chance to be part of the selected sample. It's alternatively known as a random sampling. See, so each and every person, each and every sample to whom you are going from where you are going to choose or draw the sample size whatever you needed for your research. Each and every one has equal chance to be a part of your study, so and always it has randomizations. We have some means types of random sampling or probability sampling. First one is the simple random sampling. Second one we'll discuss the stratified random sampling. Third one is what? Systematic random sampling. Fourth one is the cluster sampling. And last one is the multi-stage sampling. So we'll discuss one by one. First one is the simple random sampling. What is the simple random sampling? Every element, yeah, I told you before that every element has an equal chance of getting selected to be the part of sample. It is used when we don't have any kind of prior information about the target population. Yeah, we don't have any kinds of information from the prior or target population, and we need to select the sample from that particular target population. So we do so we can say that each and every person who is included in target population, they all are be can be the part of your sample. So out of that we'll select the sample. For example, you can see this is the population, and out of the population you are going to select the sample. Random selection, for example, random selection of 20 students from class of 50 students. Out of 50 you need to select 20 student only. So each student has equal chance of getting selected here. Probability as selection as 1 by 50 means each and every student will be selected as a sample or as a will be the part of your study. Each and every student have equal chance to be part of your study. In this, you can see in this diagram, these all other people randomly we can select as a sample. There are sample drawn from the sampling frame by using following method. There are two methods of sampling simple random sampling, that is the lottery method and the use of table of random number. So the lottery method is what we can take one bowl and blindfold it can be put into the bowl, and we can pick up from that bowl, and that number will give number to each and every one, means whatever sample you have with you, they will be numbered, and that number put it into a bowl with blindfold, and that picked up, and that can be a sample of your study. Then the random table, you can make that table by the computer, by the computer randomized table you can make, and you can pick by the blindfold, or by the odd and even number. And so these two methods by which we can assess the sampling or simple random sampling, or assess the sample size. Now we'll see the advantages and disadvantages of sampling. First one is what? Most reliable. Advantage is what? Most reliable and unbiased method. Definitely it is reliable and unbiased because we do not know who is going to be the part of your study. You are going to select that sample by blindly. You are not going to you are not going to do the bias because you are not mingle or you are not knowing with your sample. Then next one is that require minimum knowledge of a study population. Yeah, definitely require minimum knowledge of the population, because you are going to select from the population randomly, and after selection only you can get connected with your population or your sample. Then free from sampling error and bias. Yeah, definitely this sampling will be sampling technique will be free from error and bias. How? If we are taking proper sample size, then only you can be free from bias or error. Bias so definitely, but error, if your population, out of the population you are taking proper size of the sample, then definitely error will be less. Then disadvantage of the sample. Now, simple random sampling. What is that? Need up to date complete list of all the number of the population. Yeah, up to date complete list you need, and expensive and time consuming. Expensive because full population or full target population or total population you need to be for your selecting or for the sampling technique. So that is why it will be time consuming. Excuse me. Now we'll see the stratified sampling. Next types of the sampling technique is what? Stratified random sampling. This technique divided the elements of the strata. The stratified is name itself known that subgroup. In this sampling technique, we divide the strata or subgroup of subgroups for that population into small subgroups. Then based on the similarity in such a way that the elements within the group are homogeneous and heterogeneous. That can be homogeneous, that can be heterogeneous among the other subgroups formed. And then the elements are randomly selected from each of these strata. And after that, after making the strata, you have to select the sample from each and every strata. So we need to have prior information about the population to create the subgroup. So, yeah, in this study, we need the prior information of the population because we need to prepare the subgroup. For example, see, we have three kinds of, or we have total population, but we have to divide the total population into three stratum, stratum 1, stratum 2, and stratum 3. And out of that stratum, we have select the sample from each and from each stratum. So that is called the stratified random sampling. Now we'll see the advantages and disadvantages of stratified random sampling. And advantage, what is that? Answer representative sample in heterogeneous population. Yeah, representative sample we can took from the heterogeneous population also. Then comparison is possible in the two group. It's a very means important while you are doing the comparison or comparative kinds of study. Then disadvantage of the stratified random sampling require complete information of the population, and it is very difficult to collect the information of total population. So this is the disadvantage of this sampling. The large population is required definitely because we need to make the strata. So definitely we need that large number of the population for your study. Then chances of faulty classification of strata. Yeah, sometime it happen because Sometime it is not necessary we get the proper information from the population to make the strata. So faulty strata can be made. Now we'll see the cluster sampling. Third types of the sampling is the cluster sampling. When simple random sampling is not possible due to the size of population, random sampling will be cluster random sampling carried out. Entire population is divided into cluster or section, and then the cluster are randomly selected. All the elements of the cluster are used for the sampling. Cluster are identified using details such as age, sex, and location, etc. In this, what we used to do, the researcher will make the cluster out of the total population, and that uh, cluster will be identified as the sample, and the cluster can make by their characteristic. Cluster sampling can be done the following. First one is the means two types of cluster sampling. First one is the single stage cluster sampling. In that, what we used to do, entire cluster is selected randomly for the sampling. So, and from the entire population, we make the cluster, and that cluster will be the randomly we select the cluster from the population, and that will be considered as a sample of your research study. And two-stage cluster sampling. Next one is the two-stage cluster sampling. What we do in the two-stage cluster sampling? Here first we randomly select cluster, and then from those selected cluster we randomly select element for sampling. See, you can see in this diagram, we have to select the cluster 1, 2, 3, that cluster number 2, cluster number 1, 4, and 5. We have select this cluster as a sample, and within means from that cluster we select the sample. You can see the small round is there. These 2, 3 peoples are the sample of your study. So 2, that is why this means this sampling called two-stage cluster sampling, because first we make the cluster, then from that cluster we select the sample randomly we select the sample from the particular cluster which will made by the researcher. Next one is the multi-stage sampling. We'll see the multi-stage sampling. It is the combination of one or more method described above. See, this, as name says, the multi-stage sampling. So it is a combination of one or more method described above. Population is divided into multiple clusters, and then these clusters are further divided and grouped into the various subgroups. That is called the strata. First we'll make the cluster, then out of the cluster we'll make the strata based on similarity. Similarity means according to age, according to sex, whatever, or city or state, according to that, what you need, what researchers need exactly. Then one of the more cluster can be randomly select from each stratum. Then one of the more cluster can be randomly selected from the each stratum. This process continue until the cluster cannot be divided anymore. So you have to continue this process again and again up when you reach your sample size. Up to that, till that you have to uh, do the procedure again and again. For example, uh, country can be divided into state, then state can be then cities, then urban area and rural areas, and all the areas with similar characteristics can be merged together to form a strata. So this is an example which is very well defined, that you have to divide into state. Country can divide in a state, then cities, then urban areas, then rural areas, and the areas which is having same characteristic or characters. You can see in this example, there are population, total population is there. Then that population, from that population you have to make the stratum. Then from that stratum you can make the item which called the sample of your study. Then we'll see the advantage and disadvantage of your this multi-stage uh, sampling technique. Advantage, it is very cheap, quick, and easy for the large population. And population parameter of population can be estimated for the sample size. It is very cheap or easily you can do. Then this disadvantage, possibility of high sampling error can be there because large population you are taking and you will drawn very few sample from that large population, so error can be there. Then chances of least representative sample due to over representative or under representative, it can be happen in. So these are the disadvantages of your sampling. Then systematic random sampling. Now we'll see the systematic random sampling. Here the selections of elements is systematic and not random except the first elements. This is, you have to remember always, systematic random sampling, always first sample or element always select non-randomly. Then elements of sample are chosen at regular intervals and of the population. All elements are put together in sequence first where each element has the equal chance of being selected. So the first where always have equal chance to be selected. First sample, anyone can be the first sample of your research or sampling technique. For example, I just want to give an example and explain with the example very well how to select the sample from this sampling technique. For a sample of size n, that sample size is n, we divide our population of size n into the subgroup of k elements. So k is the elements, n is the size of sample, and n, capital N, is the population or size of population. So we select our first elements randomly from the first subgroup of the k elements. K elements will select from the randomly from the subgroup. First we have to make the subgroup, and from the subgroup group k elements we have to select. Then to select other elements of sample, perform following. How to select the another elements? First, we know number of element in each group is k. K is that n by n, capital N by small n. So if our first element is 1, n1, then second element is n1 plus k. So that is called the n2. Then third element will n2 plus k is n3, and so on. So taking an example of n is equal to 20, n is equal to small n is equal to 5. So number of element is in each of subgroup is n by n is that 20 by 5 is equal to 4 is equal to k. So now randomly select first elements from the first subgroup, that is k. So if we select n1 is equal to 3, if we have selected 3 number as a n1, then n2 is equal to n1 plus k is equal to 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. n3 is equal to n2 plus k is equal to 7 plus 4 is equal to 11. So what will be happen? See here. That third number is the first sample or first element of your research or sample size or informant. Then we have to take 4, means 1, 2, 3, 4. Again 4 number, that comes 7. 7 will be the next sample, 11 will be the next sample, 15 will next, and it will goes on like that. So in this manner will be do the systematic random sampling. Now we'll see the advantage and disadvantage of systematic random sampling. Advantage, convenient and simple to carry out. Definitely very convenient and simple, very simple this procedure. Then distributions of sample over entire population. Yeah, distributions, all population will be include. Then disadvantage, less representative sample if subjects are non-randomly distributed. Yeah, less representative can be there if your total population is less. Then sometimes may result in biased. Yeah, definitely. First sample which you are going to select, that can be biased. So bias can be there. According to researcher interest, they can calculate the sample. Now we'll see the next sampling technique, which is non-probability sampling. In this type of sampling, every subject does not have equal chance to be selected because elements are chosen by choice, but not by chance. Yeah. Non-probability sampling, in what happen is here, uh, according to choice, the researchers can choose the sample and according to their feasibility. Types of non-probability sampling is, first one is the convenient sampling, second one is the purposive sampling, third one is the quota sampling, and fourth one is the snowball or referral sampling. We'll go fast. So subjects are selected based on the availabilities. Convenient sampling, in that subjects are selected based on the availability. What is available for the researchers? According to that, they will do their procedure or research. This method is used when the availability of sample is rare and also costly. If sample is very costly, then this kinds of sampling technique can be used by the researcher. So based on the convenient samplings are selected. We can see the example. Researcher prefer this during the initial stage of survey research. Initial, when we are going to do the survey, on the time this convenient sampling researchers can use, as it's quick and easy to deliver the result, because he can find out very fast that result by this sampling technique. Now, advantage and disadvantage of the research. Advantage, it is very easiest, cheapest, and least time consuming sampling technique, and help in saving time, money, and resources. And disadvantage of this research, chances of sampling bias. Definitely, whatever researchers want, he can do. Then now representative sample, no non-representative. No one will be the representative of your research study, because anyone can be there. Then findings cannot be generalized. Findings cannot be generalized for in total population. Now we'll see the purposive sampling. Purposive sampling, this is based on the intentions of or purpose of the study. Only those elements will be selected from the population which suit the best for the purpose of our study. Yeah. According to your purpose, you can select sample. For example, if we want to understand the thought process of the people who are interested in pursuing master degree, then the selection criteria would be, are you interested for master in? Yeah. So what will happen? All people who respond with no will be excluded from our sample. So that is called the purposive sampling. You need only the master, the people who want to do the master degree. So who will say the yes, that will be the sample, and who will say no, they will be not the sample of your research study. Then advantage and disadvantage of this research study. Simple advantage, what? Simple to draw a sample, definitely very simple to draw the sample, and save resources as a require less field work. Yeah, field work very less, and researchers can do the sampling with effortless. Then disadvantages are required considerable knowledge about the population. Yeah, considerable knowledge about the population. Little bit knowledge at least they have, but they are going to directly consider with the people, so they should have the knowledge regarding the people who are going to be a sample of your research study. Then conscious bias may occur. Definitely conscious bias can be there, because they need according to their purpose as a study. Hello, Manju madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, are you hear me?
Ah, sure. Ma'am, you can remove the ear head.
Ear head remove kar do.
I
Okay.
think then the voice is so clear, because in the sometime it shake.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
So, ma'am,
Ji. And now we'll,
Now,
yes, ma'am.
now again you can continue.
Okay, ma'am. Now, quarter sampling. Next one is the quarter sampling, that this type of sampling depend of some preset standard. Yeah, we have in this type of sampling, we have preset of standard for the sample. It select the representative sample from the population, portion of the proportions of characteristic traits in same sample should be same of the population. So according to that characteristic or traits, you have to make the portion of the sample, or you have to select the sample. Then elements are selected until exact proportions of certain types of data is obtained or sufficient data is different category is collected. So for example, you can very well means, and you can understand very well from the example, if our population has 45% of female and 55% male, then our sample should reflect the same percentage of male and female. So you can take the same percentage from male from or from female. So such types of sample called the quota sampling. Then advantage and disadvantage of the sampling. First one is the economically very cheap and suitable where the field work has to be done. Field work जहाँ भी करना है, that will be very suitable for that. Then disadvantage, always does not guarantee representative sample. Yeah, the guarantee cannot be there, the representative sample, because sometimes they can be accessible, sometimes they can escape from your study. Then chances of sampling bias, definitely sampling bias because of the researcher interest can be there. Then next sampling technique is referral sampling or snowball sampling technique. This technique is used in the situations where the population is completely unknown and rare. Yeah, this sampling technique we can use when this the population we the researchers is unaware with the population. Therefore, we will take the help from the first elements which we select for the population and ask him to recommend other elements who will fit the descriptions of the sample needed. So in this first sample we assess or we select, and that we have to ask the same sample, they will ask from another two sample. And so this referral technique goes on increasing the size of population like a snowball. You can see this one, the first sample selected by the researcher, and they will, that sample, first sample will select another number and ask by another number or another sample, and the information will be take from another number, uh, another sample, and that second number sample will be asked for the third number sample, like that the snowball will be. Then so this is the example of snowball sampling. You can see the example. For example, it's used in the situation of highly sensitive topic like HIV/AIDS, where people will not openly discuss and participate in survey to share information about the HIV/AIDS, and not all the victim will respond to the questions asked. So researchers can contact people they know or volunteers to get in touch with the victim and collect information. Yeah. So here what that researcher will do, he will contact with the social worker and or volunteer. They will ask the or information, or they will collect the information from the HIV/AIDS patient. Help in situations where we do not have the access to sufficient people with the characteristic we are seeking. So what situations we can help, and it start with the finding people to study. So in this manner, the sampling or sample we can correct. Now we'll see the types of snowball sampling. First one is the linear snowball sampling. In this, each selected sample is asked to provide reference of only one single similar of subject. Means the first subject we have to select, then that subject will select means ask that subject will ask to select the another subject as a sample uh, who have or who will fulfill the same criteria or same characteristic. So in this manner will be information will be collected, data will be collected. Now, exponential snowball sampling. Exponential snowball sampling is what? In this, each sample member asks to provide reference of at least two similar subjects. See, one sample will selected by the researcher, and that subject will ask two sample or two subject, and that again that two sample will ask four sample. So like that, that information will be collected and the sample size will be bigger and large, become large. Now, exponential discriminative snowball sampling. Exponential discriminative snowball sampling is what? In this, initially one sample is selected and asked for two references of similar subject. Here, in this, you can see in this diagram, two samples are selected and ask for, one sample is selected and ask for the two references of similar subject. They will refer two similar subject, out of which at least one subject must be active to provide the further reference. And out of two subjects, only one person is active who will be the informant. Everywhere you can see in this diagram very well it has explained. Now we'll see the advantage and disadvantage of snowball sampling. First advantage, it facilitates sampling for people difficult to locate. Facilitate sampling for people difficult to locate means we can collect information from the people who we cannot see even. Then cheap, simple and cost efficient. Definitely you need not to find out the sample. The first sample will be informed, next sample and next will be again and again. So like that it will goes on and there will be very cost effective. Then needs little planning and lesser workforce. Yeah, here planning is need not to plan anything because according to their the first sample according to their convenience they will be select or select the subject for the information. Then disadvantage, little control of researcher over the sampling method. Yeah, very little control because researchers do not know who is the sample of their study. Then representativeness of the sample is not guaranteed. Definitely the sample will be the not always being a representative of your study. Sometimes they can fall down, some can they can exit from your research study and they will be not uh, answered, not able to answer for your research. Then chances of poor coverage of entire population. Yes, very poor coverage of entire population. It's a very difficult to cover all population because we or researcher are not going directly to collect the information. Now, how to determine the sample size? Sample size determining the sample size is very essential whenever you are doing the research study. If you have proper sample size, then definitely your research study will be very good or the findings will be generalizable. You can generalize that findings very well. Sample size should be adequate to represent the population. Yeah, whatever sample size you are taking, that should be able to represent the whole population. So you should not take little or few person or few subject as a sample. You have to assess the total population. After that, you have take the a sample or select the sample according to the population. I will give the example afterwards later on. So many factors interplay deciding the appropriate sample size for a study. Yeah, there are so many factors which uh, help us to select the sample which are very essential for your study. That time or money and availability of the subject. the goal of researcher. Yeah. How much time the researchers have to do the study, how much money he can expand for availability, sorry, how much money he or cost he can have for the research, and availability of the subject, what types of research study he actually the researcher having, and how he can get the subject, or how availabilities of subject is there. Then goal of researcher, what types of study is researchers study is. Then we'll see the purpose of study. The next one is what purpose of study. According to purpose of your study, you have to chosen the size of sample, the nature of population, what types of nature your population have, what types of means you are going to do study in any critical condition, or uh, just knowledge based study you are going to do, or some descriptive kinds of study you are going to do, some is so according to that you according to your uh, nature of population, you can select the size of sample. Then response rate. Yeah, it's a very essential point, response rate. That is why we used to do the pilot study. So how many people are able to give response of your questionnaire? Sometimes so response according to response rate, you have to select the size of sample. Then sampling procedure. Sampling procedure, which procedures you are going to use to select the sample, and effect size. Yeah, this is very essential point, that is effect size. Means what effect your study is going to produce at population, or going to give to the population. Means whatever study you are doing, you are going to do, how much if it is effective, or what information or what types of data you are needed, how much it is effective. Now, sample size in qualitative qualitative study. So in qualitative study, what types of means how you have to decide the sample. In qualitative study, not guided by the rules. Exactly, qualitative study have no rules to be for the sample size. You can select sample, or size of sample according to the need of your research study. Depend on the purpose of the study. Yeah, definitely it depend on the purpose of the study. Then quality of informant. It's depend on the quality of informants. Then types of sampling strategies used, and expected characteristic. What characteristic you are expected from the sample, that you can assess, or you can take as a sample. Now, sample size in quantitative study. Yeah, need to pay careful attention to number of subject. In that, you have to always keep in your mind, being a researcher, you have to take proper number of subjects for your sample, for your study. Choose the largest sample size to minimize sample error. Yeah, definitely. Since beginning, I am saying that what I am explaining these again and again. Sample size should be more, that can minimize the sampling error. Then based on the sampling technique and power analysis. Yeah, it always based on the sampling technique and power analysis. Then focus relies on random and non-random procedures. Always. Now we'll see the power analysis. What is the power analysis and how we can assess the sample from the power analysis. It is a gold standard in sample size estimation, and a useful statistical application that makes estimating sample size for researchers a downhill and frictionless job. Yeah, power analysis give us what a statistical means. It is a statistical application which gives us accurate size of sample for your research study, and without friction. Then effect size. In that, power analysis First one is the effect size. It is extended with the phenomena under study exist in the population. It is is also called strength of association or treatment magnitude. See, effect size, what is it? Extend which the phenomena, what phenomena you are going to study, how much it will give effect to your means study, means whatever phenomena you are going to study, that how much strength that phenomena have in the population, or treatment magnitude, how much effect will give. So the effective size. The next is power. Power is the essence, a measure of sensitivity and ability to detect small differences among group, the uh, group where studies. See, what is the power? Actually, power analysis has two things. What is it? First, effect size. Second one is the power. Power is what? Measure the sensitivity. It helps to measure the sensitivity. How much means sensitivity between the dependent and independent variables, and ability to detect small differences among group, the uh, excuse me, group, the group where studies. So what it is very keenly helped us to assess the group differences between the group where we are going to do the study. There are four parameters of the power. First one is the significant level, second one is the sample size, third one is the effect size and power. So significant level you have to check while you are selecting the sample. Then sample size, you should always remember how much sample you need. Then effect size, I had explained. Then power. So these four parameters are there. Out of that, one parameter you can assess, only one parameter. Now we'll see the sampling error. What is the sampling error? Sampling error is the deviation of selected sample from the true characteristic traits, behavior, qualities, figure of entire population. Yeah. So that is the sampling error, sampling deviations of selected sample from the characteristic or trait. Sometimes it happens that researchers can select the sample according to their choice or interest, or according to their availability, and they, that sample are not able to fulfill the criteria whatever needed for your research study. Now we'll see the types of sampling error. Population specification error is there. Population is there. Sometimes it happens the researchers can specify the particular population, and that can be give error because that population will be not a proper informant, or they cannot inform what needed by the researcher. Then sample frame error. Sample frame error. Yeah, madam. Some sample frame error can be there. Madam, someone asked the sample frame. No, what is sample frame?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they are asking question about the same, that please you explain it.
Okay, ma'am.
Sample frame
Sample
and
frame is
sampling
what?
unit.
Total population information. Whatever population you are going to select as in your research study. For example, just I am giving an example. If I want to uh, know about the malnourished children, means up to 5 year malnourished children, how many children in Jabalpur city are malnourished? So first what I will do, I will assess the block of the Jabalpur, then I will assess the villages comes under the under that block. So then that first I will assess the Jabalpur, then out of that how many blocks are there, then how many towns are there, how many villages are there under that. So each and every means step I will do assess and record in my master sheet. Understand who have asked this? So this is called the sampling frame, because you have take proper information from the Jabalpur city, and Jabalpur city में कितने ब्लॉक्स हैं, एंड ब्लॉक्स, कितने ब्लॉक्स में कितने आपके टाउन आते हैं, उस टाउन के अंडर में कितने विलेजेस आते हैं, वो पूरी इंफॉर्मेशन जब आप एक साथ लिख लेते हैं, फिर उसमें से आप सिलेक्ट करेंगे सैंपल. So that is called the sampling frame. I hope the people who means I'm able to clarify
Yeah,
the
sure,
concept.
ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now, selection error. Now we'll see the selection errors. It happens sometimes. Selection error. The same thing is there. Bias can be there. Interest can be there, and particular people whom you want or researcher want to be a part of study. So that can happen. Then non-responses. Non-response, sometime it happen the people will be not able to respond, or they don't want to respond sometime, and they ignore the things, so error can be there. Then sampling error, what I told, yeah, according to means we will sometime what happen, convenient sampling we take, purposive sampling we used to do, and that can be cause the sampling error. Now, causes of sampling error. There are two major cause of the sampling error. First one is the bias sampling procedure. Yeah. When the people or researcher select sample according to their interest or according to their availability, according to their feasibility, that time bias can happen. So every research should select sample that is free from any bias, and the sample is representative of the entire population of interest. The whatever sample you are going to select or you are selected, that should be the part of entire population. That should be not selected out from your population. जैसे मैंने अभी एक example दिया, if I want to assess the malnourished children, how many malnourished children in the Jabalpur city, and I will go to the Satna and select the people or take the information or assess the malnourished children from that Satna city, so that will be wrong sampling, and that can cause the that called the bias. Then chances, it can possible that all the randomized sub all the randomized subject objects are not the representative of the population. It can be happen without knowing the researcher, means with the researchers do not aware with that things ki what has happened, uh, and how that subject has been selected as a sample in their research study. It has happened by chance, without means the representative will not be the part of your population. Then how to eliminate or reduce the error? Increasing the sample size. So we can reduce the error by increasing the sample size. So sample size you can nn, a small nn, that is the sample size is equal to the population size is nn, then the sampling error will be 0. If you are taking much more, means your sample size is bigger, then definitely your sampling error will be 0. Then improving the sample design. Okay, sample design. So how you have select the sample, that you have to improve. The population is divided into different group and containing the similar units. So you can divide in two group, and the characteristic and traits will be the same of the both unit, and you can select the sample. So that can be eliminate the error of your research study. Now, I would like to conclude my topic. Is there any question, madam? So, in conclusion, it can be said that using a sample in research saves mainly on money and time. Definitely, it helps money maintain and save the money and time. And suitable sampling strategy is used, appropriate sample size selected, and necessary precautions taken to reduce. On sampling and measurement error, then a sample should yield valid and reliable information. So that was my topic, which I have concluded. It is very difficult to finish these all means sampling technique in an hour, because it will take 3, 4 or 5 hours to finish the sampling techniques. But I try to finish within a
Hello.
within hour, ma'am.
Ha, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just now you have finished your topic, and some attendees is want to some clear their doubt.
What?
So one more student, Natya Priya, she
Yes,
tell
ma'am.
me
Yes.
that calculating the sample size, please give me the some example according to it. Only the example during the time of the we calculating the sample.
Sample okay, ma'am. Calculating, how to calculate the sample size, madam? There are 3 4 methods by which we can calculate the sample. First one I had explained, that power analysis. And there are what uh, for the what I want to say, experimental study. We have different formulas to calculate the sample size, and non-experimental studies has different formulas to calculate the sample size. In that,
Ma'am, yeah,
but
next question is why are the sample used in research study?
why the sample is used in the research study? Who have been asked,
Yes.
ma'am, this question? Without sample, how you can collect the information? Sample are only informant, no? Sample only can give the information. Sample only can be study for your research. For example, madam, just I want to give an example. A study to assess the a study to assess the effectiveness of plant teaching program on on nutrition among the mothers who are having 5 year old children. Now, who will be the sample of the study? The sample of the study will be the mother, because I want to assess what knowledge of nutrition of the 5 year old children. So mother will be the sample. Now, the person who has asked this question, I just want to explain her or whomsoever. If we don't have sample, then to whom you will ask the means to whom you will collect the information. Now I think
Okay.
you will be the clear.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
able to clear, ma'am.
Yeah, very nicely clear.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So at the end, in this webinar series, we got effective knowledge about all the minor and major components of topic related to sample and sampling techniques by our speaker. Now I would like to express my gratitude with heartfelt thanks to our element speaker, Dr. Malti Lodhi ma'am, for imparting very good knowledge to the attendees. I would like to thanks to all participants for their golden presence in this webinar series. My special thanks to Poonam Thakur ma'am for her technical support and give us some comments also during the topic session. Heads off to the webinar series organizers Dr. Farooq Sheikh and Mr. Manish Kumar, and especially thanks that they should be remember me in this session. Also, I would like to give my special thanks to all person who back to the curtain. Thank you very much for this session. Once again, ma'am, thank you very much. Okay, bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. I'm glad to be here, you all, and I'm sorry for interruption. I was not able to connect very quickly, and Poonam madam, thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Malti ma'am, as well, Manju ma'am. The session was very nice and informative. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much, ma'am. Don't be sorry because in this scenario, we all are trying our best, and many of the functions even we don't know before this COVID.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, COVID made us to learn more technology. Actually,
Technology,
ma'am.
definitely we are not very found out with the technology, no. So that is
Yes,
why
ma'am.
sometime it happened.
No,
Uh,
no, ma'am. It's very much okay, and you did very much justice with your topic because in the short duration, it is very difficult to explain each and everything very
yeah,
well.
it's a very big topic actually. It will
Yes,
take
seriously,
more
ma'am.
hours.
But although it was very nice explanation by you and very well held session by Manju ma'am, as
Yes,
she
ma'am.
treated very nicely, ma'am. Thank you so much for your
Thank you,
support.
Mr.
Because
Dr.
yes, ma'am,
Farooq. I
time
am
is
thankful
going
to you.
overall. Here also, I'm observing that here one by one PPT is coming, so I not disturb the madam during the explanation
Uh,
because I know this topic is too lengthy, and she try each and everything she can tell.
थैंक
Yes,
यू
ma'am.
मंजू मैम,
Yes, ma'am.
थैंक यू सो मच मंजू मैम, आपने भी बहुत हेल्प किया, थैंक यू सो मच. एंड
Thank you.
स्पेशल थैंक्स टू डॉक्टर फारूक खान, थैंक यू सो मच. And Poonam, you
Anush sir.
gave a great chance to me. Really, I appreciate you all, and you are doing very well. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you once again to all. Okay, ma'am.
Thanks all participants also. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
हेलो, आपने